The dog's deed is done.
What can I say? They were the best. They really stood out. They put it all together when it counts, and that's what the sport's all about.
What a routine.
And that just may do it for Georgia here tonight.
Wow.
The Jim Dog Show is brought to you by Melwood Springs. Melwood Springs from the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Georgia.
Hi, I'm Suzanne Yocklin, and welcome to the Jim Dog Show. This past weekend, the Jim Dogs completed their last regular season competition with another win, thus an undefeated season. With me today, Associate Head Coach Jay Clark. It was a great finish to the regular season, wasn't it, Jay?
Just a great finish all the way around, a great fan base that was there in spite of the fact that we were in spring break. Still had a large number of students that showed up for the meet, and just a wonderful environment, a great opponent in the arena, and a lot of excitement, a lot of emotion on senior night. And overall, just a great way to end an undefeated season for the regular season.
Senior night can definitely be emotional, and we had 4 terrific seniors who've just had an unbelievable record at the University of Georgia throughout their career. They've had 3 national championship titles, 2 SEC championships. They're going for their 3rd SEC title just next week. But individually, they've had just an incredible career, and we do celebrate that tonight because we say to the girls, you know, after senior night, we don't talk about it. We're all business because we got to go on and win an SEC and a national title. Let's take a look at the first 2 rotations, vaulting in uneven bars, Georgia versus Michigan.
So here we come out into the Coliseum for senior night, the last regular season of the meet in Stegman Coliseum. A sold-out crowd, 10,224. And as has become her customary spot, Lauren Sessler gets to start us off on vault. And that's just a little bit flat for Lauren. It's not one of her better vaults. A little bit of a tricky landing there, but a good vault nonetheless, and goes 9.85. You can see that she gets a little elbow bend right here on the table, and it just doesn't quite get the rise that we'd like to see. She does take the step. So 9.85, but a good solid start as we get going. Cassidy McComb for the 2nd week in a row really lands a great vault. Nice Yurchenko full. A little bit of a pike in there at the end, but a 9.95 because of the stuck landing. Pretty good rise off the table. We'd like to get her shoulder angle open more on the table than what it was. You can see there was a little bit of an angle in the shoulders there, and that can cause her problems with her amplitude. Paige Burns, as a senior, getting the opportunity to vault, was a pretty solid Yurchenko full. A little bit segmented in the body shape. You can see she gets a little bit pikey, not quite the amplitude that we'd like to see, but a 9.8 and a good way for Paige to end her career in Stegman Coliseum. Becky Bernard, one of the better bar workers in the nation. Hop full. We see Courtney Kupets do that skill to a giant half. That was supposed to have been stopped at a halfway point like that one, but she covers it very nicely. Giant full. Bail to handstand. Could have been a little more on top of the bar on the bail. Just a little bit short on that handstand. She gets ready for her dismount, which is another double layout. She sticks the landing. So there's a lot of good landings going on this night. 9.85. Good solid score for Michigan. Courtney Kupets rounding out our vault lineup. Big hop there forward on the landing, but just tremendous amplitude and every other component of the vault that you look for. Straight legs. Just the landing deduction there, 9.9. They took a 10th on the landing. Tiffany Tolnay doing the Yurchenko full. She did warm up the 1.5 tonight, which is a good sign for the postseason, but sticks with doing just a solid vault that she's comfortable with. A very, very good Yurchenko full. Big amplitude, just a little bit of a hip angle right there as she comes around on the second part of the full. And that's the reason that she took the step. If she can be more disciplined and keep her hips open, she can stick that landing. So she gets a 9.925, and we head over to bars with Kat Ding. Kat did a good job on this routine. She had a rough warm-up. The giant full's a little bit late, not anything too glaring. All of her handstands are up. This pack salto could have been a little more controlled. Half pirouette, pretty much on top. Nothing really major to this point in the routine. There's a little hesitation there on that handstand, but again, nothing too glaring. And then right here, just gets a little loose with the legs on the dismount, but sticks it, goes 9.85. Probably could have been a little bit higher than that. Courtney McCool, in only her second meet in the bar lineup. Nice Ginger. Good extension as she catches the bar. That handstand could have been up a little more. Giant full, bail to handstand. She likes that to be a little more on top. She's supposed to do that soul circle right there, right out of the bail to handstand. Good handstand there at the end. That last handstand being up leaves you with a great impression. And then this, a double A full that she sticks, the most difficult dismount being done in the country right now, and she goes 9.9. Sarah Curtis on vault. Big Yurchenko full, big hop on the landing, 9.85. Gina Nuccio, the freshman, who's been very consistent for us all year. That handstand was a little bit short. The last one was very good. The giant full was pretty good. The Ginger's solid. Everything looks good except for that first little handstand. She's on top on that handstand. And then she sticks a landing with a full end dismount and goes 9.9. So we're kind of on a roll with the landings at this point. Carrie Pierce over on vault. Yurchenko full, little tiny hop there, 9.85. She had a little bit of a leg problem where her legs separated as she came out of that full, but a good solid vault nonetheless. Tiffany Tolme, this, folks, is the best routine I've ever seen her do. That handstand's dead on top. Jaeger's fine. I thought it could have been up a little bit more, but nothing that I thought was a deduction. All of her handstands have been up. The bail was on top. That handstand's dead vertical. Giant full on top. Blind change, and then the double front. Bang, sticks it. Just a little balance check, but doesn't move her feet. 9.95. Not sure where the half-tenth came from, but it was great to see that from our senior on senior night. Kylie Botterman. She's an explosive vaulter herself. Great athlete, 9.9. Courtney Kupets, not Ashley Kupets, back on bars. And this is almost getting to the point where you feel like you're watching replay every single time. We know what we're going to get out of Courtney. That handstand could have been up a little bit more, and I think that's probably where the biggest deduction was, because everything else is pretty solid. The last handstand's up enough, and then the stuck landing on the dismount, 9.925. And so we're at a 99 even after two rotations, with Michigan at a 98.275. So about a 7/10 lead headed into the third rotation of the meet.
The Jim Dog Show is brought to you by Melwood Springs. Melwood Springs from the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Georgia. By GeorgiaDogs.com. GeorgiaDogs.com, the official website of the Georgia Bulldogs. By Brown Arrowhead Clinic. Arrowhead Clinic, Georgia's largest spinal healthcare organization. By Athens Regional Medical Center. At Athens Regional, we have a specialty. You. By Alpha Factor. Alpha Factor, the official gymnastics apparel worn by the Gym Dogs. By the Georgia Club. The Georgia Club, a community of neighborhoods in Bulldog Country. By Phil Hughes Honda. Phil Hughes, the official Honda of the Georgia Gym Dogs. And brought to you by John Bull's stores in the Bahamas. John Bull, the shopping mecca of the Caribbean.
Ask Suzanne, brought to you by GeorgiaDogs.com. And this week's question is, what is the format at the SEC Championships in Nashville? And the answer is, well, there's 7 teams in the SEC, so there'll be 4 teams competing at one time with 3 teams on byes, which means it's a little bit longer competition. That's Ask Suzanne, brought to you by GeorgiaDogs.com.
Welcome back. Well, a great start, Suzanne, on the first 2 events. We're at a 99 even after the first 2 events, which is that halfway mark, going for that 198 score and a season high starting on vault and very close to a season high on bars.
Absolutely. I mean, what a start. And with seniors on senior night, you never know really what they're going to do because it's so emotional. But they're coming through strong. Both Tiffany and Courtney had good vaults. You know, a little step, but solid from them. But on uneven bars, Tiffany especially was rocking with probably the best bar routine she's ever done. And I think we all agree that could have been the perfect 10 for Tiffany.
Very much so.
Both Abby and Paige were able to compete as well. Abby exhibition bars. Paige was able to compete on vaulting. So the seniors have been in the mix. And as you said, biggest score so far, 99 in the midway point. Wow, you know, this is what you always want, especially at the end of the season when you're getting ready to peak for championships. Hopefully, as we head over to balance beam, we can keep it going.
Georgia!
So we head over to beam. We've got a lot of momentum going. We got the crowd behind us. There was a meet here in town for a club meet, the National Gymnastics Challenge, with about 2,000 participants in it. And so we had a large contingency of young kids up in the upper decks that were making a lot of noise. Hillary Morrow getting us started on balance beam, and everything's solid. The series was good. The front aerial is good. Here's the only deduction right there. That balance check right there is going to cost her a little bit, probably a tenth to a tenth and a half. Everything else in the routine solid. No other balance checks throughout the routine. Round off double full that she has gotten very, very good at sticking, and goes 9.825 to get us off to a very solid start. Jordan Sexton, a gymnast from North Carolina, been at Michigan for several years now. Round off 1.5 twist to front layout. You can just see the composition and the difficulty in their tumbling is just not quite there. Michigan has really struggled to be consistent on this event, so I think maybe they're trying to do things that they can be comfortable with. She gets a 9.825. Grace Taylor back on balance beam, and this is the 10 from the third gymnast this year for Georgia. And the reigning national champion on this event does her one-arm back handspring to back layout. She does pike that down, but gets the D for it. When you do it that way, you have to hold the stretch all the way to the landing in order to get an E. Full turn with her leg up. That's a D to a D combination right there with the standing layout. No balance checks whatsoever so far. And before this, Courtney McCool had come off the beam and given us a fall, so we need Grace to kind of show her leadership and step up and kind of right the ship. And so far, she's doing that. Beautiful style. Grace just moves on the beam so fluidly, so well. Just a pleasure to watch. She works the beam the way it ought to be worked, on toe when she should be up on toe, and plenty of acro skills, and just a wonderful beam worker, probably one of the best that we've ever had here at Georgia. You saw the front aerial to the back layout combination. She's just loaded with difficulty, and she gets ready for the dismount here. It's 2 flip-flops to a double full. Back handspring, double full, sticks the landing, and gets the 10. The crowd's going bananas. I think everybody in the building knew that there was a good chance that was going to score the perfect 10, and it gets us back in the place where we could think about scoring well on beam after Courtney McCool's fall. See Grace waving to her family. She saw some family members in the stands right there that she didn't realize were going to be there. So there was a little bit of surprise on her face. Tiffany Tolnay back on balance beam. Amplitude is the name of the game with Tiffany. She does have a little balance check on that switch side that you saw. Switch sleep, straddle jump, back tuck, no problem there. No wobbles whatsoever. A little bit of a balance check there on the front tuck, but she covers it very well. The switch sleep to the gainer full, sticks it, and Tiffany's foot's really been giving her trouble, but through 3 events, she's got a 9.9 plus on everything. And her coaches were in it, her club coaches were in attendance that night, as was her dad, and just a special night for her. Front tuck there, an uncharacteristic balance check for Courtney Kupets, and the front tucks gave us some trouble because you had it from Hillary, you had it from Tiffany, and you had it from Courtney on the front tucks, and that seemed to be the mistake of the evening for us on the balance beam. But really nothing else to take throughout this routine as well. Probably the 1/10er is what got her. One judge took a 10th on the front tuck, and one judge took a half a 10th, and she gets a 9.925. So after 3 events, we've stretched our lead out a little bit. Got a 148.2 to a 147.525.
Hi, my name is Taylor Marielle. What's it like being a gym dog?
Thanks for the question, Taylor. I'd have to say being a gym dog is definitely a blessing. We have great coaches, a great facility, an amazing team. I wouldn't give anything for it. I mean, it's awesome, so.
Hi, my name is Melanie, and I like Courtney Kupets because she is the best in the nation, and she gets a lot of 10s. Go Dogs!
Welcome back. Well, that was a roller coaster ride on balance beam, from Grace Taylor's 10 to Courtney McCool's fall, and unfortunately we do have to count a low score from Paige Burns on balance beam, so hitting that 198 is pretty much impossible now, but overall I think the team looked good on beam. Again, Tiffany had a nice routine, and the seniors are coming through, and you know, what else can you say about Grace Taylor's 10? I mean, that was perfect.
Oh, it was absolutely one of the best routines I've ever seen on the balance beam, and we've commented so many times about how Grace works the beam with such a flow and a fluidity fluid style to what she does, and just really a joy to watch. And you know, we look fantastic on the things that we hit. We had a couple of little miscues, and then of course McCool coming off the beam. But I agree with you that I think it's an incredibly strong event for us, very, very deep. And as we were talking earlier off camera, when can you ever remember that you've had 3 different girls in a given season that have scored a perfect 10 on beam? And that's just a testament to the depth and the talent that we have on that event.
You're right, Jay. Balance beam has been an unbelievable event for us, and it's going to be a big advantage when we go into postseason. Now we head over to floor exercise, and this is an event that's been giving us trouble all year because of the injuries. Tiffany Tolnay has the foot injury, still continues to plague her. Marcia Newby has a leg problem, and she can't really train floor a lot. Cassidy McComb's got a little pull now, also running down through her hamstring, and it's just one thing after another, and we really can't train this event. You know, hopefully tonight we can hit floor exercise so we can come away from this last regular season meet with a big score. So let's head over to floor and take a look at the Gym Dogs on floor exercise.
So we headed to the 4th rotation on floor, and as is our tradition, we let the seniors' dads have the best seat in the house, and you saw them over there. Hillary Morrow opening with an Arabian double, an E, and I think you're going to see the difference in the difficulty that Georgia has versus what you saw from Michigan. A 1.5 to a front layout full in the middle. That's a C with bonus. And then she finishes with a D double pike, which is outstanding difficulty, especially for your first up routine. Grace Taylor up next. We mixed the lineup up a little bit to allow the seniors to go at the end. Good opening to a whip to a double pike. A little bit of a large lunge there. Excellent landing on the double tuck. And then comes back with the 2.5. Legs were much better this week. Does a great job on that routine. And gets a 9.925. Becky Bernard on balance beam for Michigan. Does a 3 series, back handspring layout. Switch sleep by itself, a little bit of wobble. I don't know if that was supposed to be connected to something. A round off 1.5 dismount with a step goes 9.825. Triple full from Abby, very nicely done. Squares it all the way around. This might have been the best routine I've seen her do all year. Comes back with a double full punch front. And while it's not the most difficult pass in the world, it's one that the fans really enjoy seeing. They like seeing those back-to-back saltos. And then finishes with a double pike. Solid landing. Gets a 9.9 for about the 3rd time, I think, in her career. Back over in vault, Kelsey Knutson from Iowa. There's a side aerial. There's a little bit of a knee bend there. Switch sleep to a back handspring quarter turn. Pretty nicely done there. Sheep jump. Nothing really major going on here. I think most of the deductions are in amplitude. Back handspring full. And a round off 1.5 twist. Had some leg issues, and then she also hopped off to the side. She gets a 9.8. Courtney Kupet's back on floor. Big Arabian double front. But kind of kicks out a little bit early, steps back just a little bit. That's about a 0.5 deduction. And it's probably the only 0.5 deduction because the rest of the routine is flawless. All of her leaps are there. She's getting ready for the second pass, which is unique in that it has several skills strung along together. She does a round off to a whip half. There's the whip half right there to a Rudy, which is a front 1.5 twist, to a Shushanova, which is just sort of a gymnastic skill that's worth a C, so she does get some combination bonus there. And it's just a unique way to finish out a floor routine. You see her dad's kind of rocking it out over there. Very nice tourgette half there. And she's getting ready to finish up with a nice double pike at the end. The crowd's kind of feeling it. You can see the team's into it. She finishes up right here. Right off back handspring double pike, lands with her chest up. Excellent job. 9.95 to finish out the meet. So our final score on this senior night, as Courtney goes over to thank her dad and the other dads for being there, gives her dad a big hug. Our final score is a 197.4 to Michigan's 195.825.
Routine of the week, brought to you by Athens Regional Medical Center, and this week's routine is none only than Grace Taylor as she scores a perfect 10 on the balance beam. Routine of the week, brought to you by Athens Regional Medical Center.
Countdown to the NC2As, brought to you by Melwood Springs, and as you can see, the SEC dominates the top 10 with 5 teams ranked in the top 10, and actually number 11 is Auburn. Countdown to the NC2As, brought to you by Melwood Springs. Well, there you have it. 4 out of 6 routines on floor that were pretty good. Mistakes that are attributed mainly to, as you mentioned, the fact that we really can't train with any consistency on that event. But overall, a very good night for us, a good way to finish up the meet. And we've got to go to the SEC Championships in Nashville.
That's right. And, you know, it was a good night. There's so much emotion, as we've alluded to a number of times tonight on senior night. The girls did well. The seniors came through with all hit routines. And, you know, overall, another good, solid score, 3 in a row now. So we've got a lot of confidence heading into SECs. And it is in Nashville, Tennessee, and there's tickets available. So head over there and support the Gym Dogs this Saturday at 4 o'clock. And we'll see you next week with the results of the SEC Championships as Georgia goes for number 17.
The Gym Dog Show has been brought to you by Melwood Springs. Melwood Springs from the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Georgia. By GeorgiaDogs.com. GeorgiaDogs.com, the official website of the Georgia Bulldogs. By Brown Arrowhead Clinic. Arrowhead Clinic, Georgia's largest spinal health care organization. By Athens Regional Medical Center. At Athens Regional, we have a specialty. You. By Alpha Factor. Alpha Factor, the official gymnastics apparel worn by the Gym Dogs. By the Georgia Club. The Georgia Club, a community of neighborhoods in Bulldog Country. By Phil Hughes Honda. Phil Hughes, the official Honda of the Georgia Gym Dogs. And brought to you by John Bull's stores in the Bahamas. John Bull, the shopping mecca of the Caribbean.